State Capitol. Yay! Yeah. April 20th, 1999. December 14th, 2012. October 1st, 2017. February 14th, 2018. November 7th, 2018. Columbine, Sandy Hook, Route 91, Parkland, and Thousand Oaks. All names you wouldn't have known if it weren't for a shooting. According to a Quinnipiac University research poll, 97% of Americans support requiring background checks for all gun buyers. In a world where shootings have become commonplace, it is necessary that we take action to combat gun violence. It is necessary to implement a universal background check policy because there are strong discrepancies between state legislatures on important issues. School shooters have shown multiple red flags in the past, and because there is a growing movement to combat gun violence. In the Supreme Court decision, U.S. v. Lopez in 1995, the Rehnquist Court solidified its use of New Federalism, the act of taking some powers away from the national government and giving them to the states, a process better known as devolution. It created a new definition of gun control as guns became a state issue rather than a federal issue. Gun became more regulated in states and less in others, according to the main policy reviews. For example, the south side of Chicago is known for its gang violence by guns. Illinois has some of the strictest laws in the country. So where are these weapons coming from? According to the Chicago Gun Trace Report by the Chicago Sun-Times, 21% of guns recovered in inner-city gang violence between 2013 and 2016 have come from Indiana, a state with more lenient gun restrictions, and 9% come from other states. The mayor of Chicago has spoken out about this and urges the national government to enact a universal standard to combat this. Making gun laws a state power affects people in Iowa as well. According to the Giffords Law Center, an estimated 34% of gun sales occur in no questions asked transactions that often take place at gun shows or on the internet. In Iowa, there is no background check policy for gun show purchases, and it leads to some pretty shady dealings. In a conversation with State Representative Molly Donahue, I learned about all of the backroom methods Iowans use to obtain firearms without a permit or a background check. In accordance with the No Notoriety movement, I will not be identifying any of the shooters' names. However, there have been multiple instances where perpetrators of mass shootings have raised red flags before shooting or buying firearms. For example, the Parkland shooter raised multiple red flags. According to NPR, the 19-year-old was the subject of dozens of 911 calls and at least 2 separate tips to the FBI. There were decades-old warning signs, but no one intervened. Someone who should have been closely monitored was still able to legally obtain a gun. In the Thousand Oaks shooting, a veteran with PTSD was able to keep his guns after service. This should never have happened. This is so close to home, I can think of many stories in Iowa where this is happening. There is horrible violence committed by underqualified gun owners, and that does not happen too far from home. Sinquez Jackson was a 15-year-old sophomore at my school when he was shot. He was shot accidentally by a 13-year-old with a semi-automatic pistol that remains untraced. Shady firearms dealings drastically affect communities everywhere, according to KCRG News in Cedar Rapids. Many Americans are finally saying enough is enough to gun violence. And I'm going to grab my visual aid. Emma Gonzalez is the leader of the March for Our Lives movement, which is a youth movement organized around ending gun violence. Gabby Giffords is a social activist after being the victim of a terrible shooting on January 8, 2011, and she created the Giffords Law Center to combat gun violence. Ariana Williams is from She Strong, which is a group in Chicago, Illinois that combats the gun violence on the south side of Chicago. March for Our Lives in Iowa is something that I'm closely involved with. It has united young people all over the country in the fight against gun violence. And Gabby Giffords is one of my personal heroes. After a brain injury that left her right side paralyzed, that did not hinder her fight for change. She's the voice of anti-gun violence, the voice of the anti-gun violence movement, and she has fought incredibly hard to enact policy to make public spaces safer with the Giffords Law Center. All of these people and more are contributing to gun violence in America, and this can be done with universal background policy. It needs to pass through Congress and be enacted in all states. Washington State serves as a laboratory for democracy by demonstrating remarkable successes in universal background checks and the correlation with the decrease to gun violence. Objections come from ardent supporters of the Second Amendment and of the NRA. However, the 97% of America that supports universal background checks see them as a way for people that truly deserve guns to be able to protect themselves at will, just with a bit more scrutiny in the gun purchasing process. Imagine a country where you don't hear about a mass shooting every week. Parents don't have to bury their children because of gun violence, and politicians don't take blood money from super PACs like the NRA to finance another era of loose gun control in America. You can take actions. Call your legislator, join organizations preventing gun violence, and keep the conversation going. Universal background checks are essential for the safety and well-being of Americans. It sets a countrywide standard holding people accountable for responsible gun ownership. There's a lot that needs to be done, but all of that starts with you. Thank you very much.